Hello, everybody. I am Ove Viesemann, and today I'm going to talk about Estonian. Eesti keel, a thing even native speakers don't fully comprehend. That that phrase is very true because Estonian is very difficult, and I can't start my presentation without talking about this little meme here in the bottom left corner. It's Our nature is beautiful, so is our flag. Anyway, Estonian belongs to the Uralic languages, and Estonia is here in northern Eastern Europe. Here are our brothers Finns and Karelians, and I want to mention this little subfamily, Nenets, Selkups, Enets, and Ganasans. They uh, make the Samoyedic language subfamily. Yes, the Samoyedic dogs are from there. And also, this little meme here, the Uralic Mountains. Anyway, typology of the Uralic languages. Uralic languages strongly suffixate, as they are mostly synthetic and agglutinative. There are many cases, and detective shows and Uralic languages have one thing in common: interesting cases. The local case system differentiates static position, motion towards, and motion from something. And many Uralic languages have several sets of these three. Estonian has exterior and interior local cases. For example, the Uralic languages avoid initial consonant clusters, and they also eliminate consonant clusters in the beginning of loanwords a lot of times. Uh, quantity of quantity correlation of vowels and consonants. This means that in Uralic languages, it is differentiated between short, long, and sometimes even overlong vowels and consonants, and they change the meaning of the word. Uralic languages usually have a negative verb, and only Estonian does not have possessive suffix. And to learn most of the Uralic languages, you need to learn Russian because most grammars are written in Russian as here they are in Russia, the Uralic languages. Here I wrote some Uralic cognates, and I just want to point out the nest. It's in Estonian, it is pesa, Finnish pesa, Mido Mari, it's Põžas, in Hungarian it's Fezek, and in Tundra Nenets it's Vidja, which is very cute in my opinion. A brief history about the piece of land. So Estonia was first inhabited around 10,000 years ago when the Ice Age ended. Ancient Estonia was divided into counties, and each county had a king, and the counties cooperated, for example, against the Crusaders. Only big assumptions are made about the history before the Crusades because there are no literary sources. Um, the German Crusaders first came in the 13th century, and suddenly the Danes, Poles, Russians, and even Swedes wanted this piece of nothing, but it was a good place for merchants because it was right by the Baltic Sea. The time when the Swedish occupied Estonia, we call the good old Swedish times because then the education bloomed uh, until modern Russia struck. Happens. Uh, the second half of the 19th century was the age of awakening, and Estonians started to see themselves as one nation. In 1980, we gained independence, and well, the Soviets took it from us in 1940, but we regained independence in 1991. And here's a little meme about how Finland was just like, bye, Estonia. A history of the language itself, even though we don't know much. So, Southern Estonian, separated first from the Finnic languages, is a theory believed by some linguists because it is quite different from Northern Estonian dialects and it has its own features. So, ancient Estonians were mostly illiterate, but there are some sources found because some Estonians knew how to write in runes or in Cyrillic alphabet. Palatalization was lost, but then brought back. And all Finnic languages have lost palatalization, but Estonian brought it back by just losing the vowel E in some places and combining it with the consonant. First, definitely, the Estonian words were written in the 13th century when the Crusaders came, and those words are laula, laula, pappi, which mean sing, sing, father. In 1739, the first full translation of the Bible was published, and it was published in Northern Estonian, and thus Northern Estonian became the standard Estonian. And here's a little meme about how Southern Estonian separated. So I have a language which diverged right from late Proto-Finnic. I have North Estonian influence. I have Võro. The Q in Võro orthography marks glottal stop. Up to the 19th century, Estonian was written with German orthography, and well, it didn't work well because long vowels of stressed open syllable was written with one letter, like sa and sa. They are different. Short vowel stressed syllable marked with double consonant tapa versus tappa, both different words but written the same. Final long consonant of a word marked with one letter, and kash, it would be written as gas. And well, that also exists already. And then vowel of stressed co-syllable was marked with two letters. For example, lastud would be written as lastud, and that is also a word. And here I put a sample sentence in with the German orthography, then with the standard orthography, and then the English translation. Okay, moving on. In the early 1900s, as Estonians had awakened, the scribing of Estonian started and the correct grammar was developed. And during all of those times when Estonia was occupied by different nations, different empires, lots of words were loaned and also wrong grammar. And one thing that is still mistaken by even native Estonians is that you can't form future in any way. Just don't use adverbs indicating time. And sometimes Estonians try to form future by adding a verb some or hakkama, but that's just incorrect. Anyway, here are a few fun examples from loan words. For example, ula, which means freely, by oneself, was loaned from Russian volya. Then again, voli, which means right, entitlement, or power, was also loaned from Russian volya. And then the word pann was loaned from German panne, which means pan. Then kool was loaned from the Low German Schole. And here we can see how the consonant cluster here was lost, initial consonant cluster, and made into just K. Then cream was borrowed in a later time period, and so the consonant cluster wasn't lost. It's from the Swedish krima, which means scratch. Dialects. So there's Northern Estonian, which on this map here is the red, green, blue, and gray. It is the basis for standard Estonian. This is divided into Eastern, which is gray, Middle, which is blue, and Islands, Western, which is here the green part, and then Islands dialect, which is the red one. Then Northeastern Coastal Estonia, which is kind of Finnish, because it has lots of Finnish influence, including grammar and vocabulary, and it's this yellow here. And then Southern Estonian, which is considered a separate language. It is divided into Mulgi here, Tartu, the purple one here, and then the light green here. And subdialects are very important as associating subcultures were prominent until the Soviet times. and the clothing of those subcultures are still valued a lot. Here I made a table with cognates from different dialects. So Räpina and Karula, these are from the southern Estonian. Narva-Taguse, Narva-Taguse is from the northeastern coastal Estonian, which has lots of Finnish influence. Then Keila is from Middle Estonian, and here is the standard Estonian and English translation. A feature that the Southern Estonian dialects have is the glottal stop. For example, the word hair, which in standard Estonian is juuksed. In Räpina dialect, it is juuse. For example, Aurora, which is in standard virmalised. In Räpina dialect, it's virmalise. And is shining is vehkase. And in Karolait is also vehklase. Also, Southern Estonian has Z, is voiced in standard. It isn't voiced; it's just said as S. Then lots of Finnish influence, basically the same, but still Estonian. Anyway, let's move on. Our letters are a mess. Vowels. The vowels are A, E, I, O, U, A, and U. E is here, U is here, A is here, is here, A is in the middle of this box, then U, O, and our A, which is written like this, but it is a back vowel. Then our can be anywhere on this line here, from middle high to from this middle to here, middle to back, middle high. And what is interesting is that in Saaremaa dialects, they have lost and for example, tõsi, which means truth, in Saaremaa is tõsi. Then vowel harmony doesn't exist in standard Estonian, but in dialects it is very prominent. And usually the non-initial syllables harmonize with the initial syllables. For example, linane versus linane, then seljas versus seljan. The linane and seljan are from Kodavere dialect. Then two groups that harmonize are front vowels and back vowels. These here and these here. And as we can see, linane has changed into linane as here, front. Then seljas, seljan as in the front. Then A is prone to becoming and well, lapseke versus lapseke. And it is tried in diminutive. And well, A has become but also is harmonizing with the back vowels. And here is a meme about a person from Saaremaa tries to say says instead. The person from Saaremaa is just Then our letters are nice. Consonants. Our consonants go like this. G, P, D, K, P, T, S, H, F, Š, Z, Ž, J, L, M, N, R, V. So F, Š, Z, and J, we pronounce these three basically the same because F, Š, Z, and J, they are only used in loanwords and names. And then C, Q, W, X, and Y, which are pronounced as C, Q, kaksis V, X, and Y, they are used in foreign names and coded words. So, DBD are just weak kapete, or you could say short. For example, kaku, kaku, kaku. The G here and the K and double K here, they are exactly the same vowel, same consonant. Then T, N, S, and L, these consonants, they can be palatalized. So it can be G, B, and D, but just A. So can D, because T and D are the same. And here's our consonant table. And here's a lovely meme, how kapite and gebite are the same. So degree of quantity, it describes how long is the pronunciation of a word. It changes depending on the case, lammas, lamba, lammast. So second versus third degree. Officially, only 3 degrees are observed. For example, kala, kalla, kalla. But all one-syllable words are automatically in the third degree nominative. So piim, piima, piima. But piim in illative, this piima, which is like extra long, extra long, like maybe fourth degree exists, it is debated. So gradation is a thing even I am confused about. So gradation is when the consonants and vowels with them and or degree of quantity changes in different forms of the same word. Each word is assigned either strong or weak grade nominative or infinitive form. And with nominals, gradation is observed with comparing nominative, genitive, and partitive. With verbs, gradation is observed by comparing infinitive form, infinitive form, and indicative third singular present form. Infinitive form and infinitive form of verbs, they are basically the same, but usage is a bit different. And gradation is when the strong and weak grades alternate. There's no set rule. Words are just divided into groups based on how they change, if they do. And here's some gradation patterns. Weakening gradation is kandma, kannab, kandnud, tõbi, tõve, tõbe, kuub, kue, kuube. Strengthening gradation, lammas, lamba, lammast, hüljes, hülge, hyljest, roie, roide, roiet. These two are where the vowels. These two are when the root changes a bit. And here only the consonant length changes. Crooked nominals. Nominals are nouns, adjectives, pronouns, and numerals in Estonian. Nominal is käänsõna. There are 14 cases. Case is kääne. To decline, to crook is käänema, hence crooked nominals. Nominative, genitive, and partitive are the abstract, also known as grammatical cases. They are siil, siili, siili. We differentiate the different lengths of the vowels of words by just context. Then these 6-1, illative, inative, elative, and allative, adjective, ablative are the locative cases. And these 3 are the interior cases, and these are exterior cases. And here's a little illustration of the cases. So we also have translative, which means to become something. Terminative, which we use as to reach something. Essive as to be something. Abusive, without something. Commutative, with something. And here's a table of different words declined in nominative, genitive, partitive, singular forms, and plural forms. This is quite regular. Müts, mütsi, mütsi, mütsid, mütside, mütse. But then here comes esi, et, ed, ette, esi. Completely irregular, quite fusional morphology. Then vilu, vilu, vilu is the same in all 3 in singular. Süsi, söe, süt, söed, süte, süsi is also interesting. To summarize how our words change. Estonian agglutinative morphology, yay. More like nay, but then fusional morphology, quite good. The books of golden words. Any of these is good enough to use for grammar. This õigekeelsussõnaraamat means grammar dictionary. Because we can't let the object be simple. Estonian differentiates between partial and total object. The object in partitive is always partial object, hence partitive. Total object can be nominative and genitive. And here are 3 examples. Ma sõin kooki, I ate some cake. I is nominative, cake is in partitive, it is partial object. We can't conclude that the activity cake eating was finished. Ma sõin ühe koogi, I ate a cake. Cake is in genitive, and it is total object. From this sentence, we can say that the cake was finished. And then nad võtsid mitmed koogid koju. They took several cakes home. We can understand that they finished taking these cakes home, as the object is in nominative. Syntax. Word order is free, but SVO is the most natural. Word order can be used to emphasize or bring the topic to something. In a noun phrase, the adjective is before the noun and they agree. For example, punasele koerale, red in red allative, dog allative. It means the red dog. Questions always begin with an interrogative word, at least in standard language. Kas sa oled näinud mu telefoni kusagil means have you seen my phone somewhere? Interrogative particle is kas. Subject is sa, it is you in second singular. Verb is oled näinud. It is be second singular and see perfect form. Then partial object is mu telefoni. It's me genitive, telephone in partitive. Then the local adverb is kusagil, somewhere. Dog jumps stone. As the word order is free, we can do anything with it. And SVO is neutral, koer järab konti. Dog jumps bone. And VSO and VOS are used to start a story. VSO is here, järab koer konti, or järab konti koer. Then you can start explaining something that was happening at the same time. And OVS is used to share knowledge. Konti järab koer. And then the OSV and SOV will do the same, but in a song or a poem. We like to put words together. Problem from the Brazilian Olympiad by Andrei Nikulin. I'm pretty sure that this problem is familiar to the most of you.
Yes.
Anyway, it would be a lot easier for me to solve it as I know what is happening in Estonian and I can pretty much put 1 + 1 together here. And this is how I divided things. So with these yellow arrows, yellow points, for compound verbs, type 1, add word in genitive to the front of the word in nominative. And then with the blue one, type 2, put together two words that are both in nominative. Then words that are in yellow for genitive without root change, type 1, add 1 to the stem, add E to the stem. For genitive with root change, which are in yellow, just lose consonant, change E to E, and change U to O. Then plural is just by adding a D to genitive. And this here is adding to the word genitive. And basically, that's it. Everything can be like put together. Then the word no wasn't just a. In several dialects, person and number is expressed in different forms of a. For example, in northeastern coastal Estonian, en ole is I am not, et ole is you in singular are not, ei ole, he, she, it is not, emma ole, we are not, eta ole, you are not, evad ole, they are not. Some dialects even distinguish tense. Whatever subdialect, for example, have these sentences. Teie ette ole, you plural, no, plural, we, you are not. Teie esite süü, you did not eat. The ette and esite are the word no. A remnant in standard Estonian is pole, which is negative third person of to be, and it comes from ep ole. One word means a lot. A tune, melody, viis. A way how something is done, viis. Third singular preterite. Preterite is anything in the past. Of to take is viis. The number viis, the number 5 is viis. Only the first two viis share etymology as melody is a way you sing. Then do, te, ti, te, road, te. Something packed, packaged, buck. Being in hurry, buck. A higher part of the ship, bow, buck. A short wooden log, buck. These three are declined as if they were the same, and this is declined separately. Buck, paki, paki, but this is declined as buck, paku, paku. And they all have different etymology. And that's it.